Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. Once again, today I'm playing Legacy. This is what you've all been waiting for. This is my post-ban update for MonShark. So the previous build, the last one I played, it had red in it. There were two moats in the main. The red was specifically for Pyroblast, which was specifically for Oko, and the moats were to answer Oko, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and Uro, two of which have been banned, one of which I've added some Rest in Peace to the sideboard to deal with, and in general wasn't the card I was scared of anyway. But this is MonShark. If you haven't seen this before, there's multiple engines at play here. The Monarch half of that is Court of Cunning and Court of Grace. I'm trying to get the board stable with my many removal and counter spells, and then stick Court of Cunning, and then mill my opponent out. That's the primary win condition. Backup win condition, 4/4 Angels. Backup win condition on that, and the other engine in the deck. Shark Typhoon is an enchantment. You can cycle it for a blue colorless and X, make an XX Shark, Flying Shark. So you make a flyer, you draw a card. Hall of Heliod's Generosity can put target enchantment on top of your library from your graveyard. This one was in the graveyard because I just cycled it, so boom. This is Sharks every turn, and that's a tough engine to beat. Crucible of Worlds can get this back if it gets wastelanded. I have some wastelands of my own to get value off of Crucible if I'm not recurring my Hall of Heliod's Generosity. And there's just some good cards in between. Hall Breacher, that's a good card with Flash if we need to fight over the Monarch. If they take the Monarch, this stops them from getting the extra card. Snapcaster Mage can also flash in, take the Monarch back if I need it. Brazen Borrower is also a flash threat, which is also kind of a removal spell if I need to buy a little time to protect the Monarch. And if all of this gets answered, if we play a crazy grindy game, boom, replenish, jams all of these enchantments back into play. I'm the Monarch, there's a moat, there's two Shark Typhoons, good luck. So that's the plan. Sideboard has just the cards you'd expect in a blue-white deck. Deafening Silence, Containment Priest, Rest in Peace versus various flavors of combo, Stony Silence, and Null Rod in the deck, Pithing Needle, and back to basics. So the main deck is set up to beat creatures, the sideboard is set up to beat combo, and let's get into these games. All right, I'm on the play in round one with a pretty tricky hand, actually. I have double force, double blue card, and two lands. Unfortunately, my game starts at turn 3, and I don't necessarily even have the third land. This is a mulligan. Okay, this just feels way better. Had Brainstorm, fetch land, some other stuff. Removal. This is a perfectly good generic hand that we can expect out of this deck. I'm going to ship the plains to the bottom. If I knew for sure my opponent was on like Oops All Spells or Belcher, I would have kept that first hand, but I don't know that for sure. If they were on something like Delver, we would have just lost the game on the spot. I'm leading on Island because I want to be able to brainstorm for full value next turn. It looks like we are literally playing against Oops All Spells. Surprise. Alright, do you have the Force of Negation? Bummer. Alright. See if we can fix this. Hey! Do you have two Forces of Negation? Or a Pact of Negation? Alright, they have one card in hand. That was pretty fortunate. Alright, Swords to Plowshares on top of the deck. Probably going to cycle that away. Well, now it's who can rebuild first. And I am going to get Tundra here because they can't interact with my mana. Motobug, I just got rid of that. Alright, so I have 4 mana now. All of my win cons are live. I just need to find one of them. Alright, now I'm representing Hardcast Force of Will. Hello, Nurse. I'm going to put the removal spells back in the deck because they are not important to my plan. Ooh, Replenish. Court of Cunning is something I'm interested in. Though it is pretty interesting in that milling them probably isn't the best idea. Yeah, I'll probably end up just drawing and not milling with this. So I don't really have a way to pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna, oh, they're just gonna concede. All right. Yeah, I wasn't gonna mill anyone. Okay, so Pithing Needle, Null Rod, Flusterstorm, Deafening Silence, Containment Priest, Rest in Peace. I have a lot of sideboard for this. Like I said in the deck tech, I am built in the main to beat creatures and built in the side to beat combo. And oh baby, is this a combo deck. These removal spells all come out. Moat comes out. Court of Grace is probably slow. I don't need Crucible, though. Like we saw last game, having win conditions is actually relevant. Shark Typhoon is pretty interesting in this matchup because while having creatures on board isn't that important, they do have Bridge from Below as part of their combo, and you can make a 0/0 shark, just cycle this for a blue and 1, and your shark token comes into play, dies, and then exiles their bridges. So that does have some utility. Brazen Borrower probably doesn't matter much here. And Replenish might be worse than Brazen Borrower. Borrower is at least blue, and like we saw last game, hitting the second force blue card off those 3 cards up Brainstorm was the miracle we were looking for. All right, that's 11 in, 11 out. I'm just going to do one last check, make sure I didn't miss anything obvious. Yeah, everything in my deck at this point is a counterspell, a cantrip, or a win condition. And then here comes all of the hateful Garbo. Boom. All right, here's my deck. That feels pretty good. All right, Force of Will, Insane turn 2s. If they have another turn 1 with Force or Pact of Negation backup, I'm gonna lose. But if I get to turn 2, I'm gonna win pretty easily. Though turn 2 on the draw against Oops is asking a lot. But this is why I like decks like this. There's just so many tools. You can attack them in so many different ways. You have cantrips. I don't want to just get dumpstered by stuff like Oops All Spells when I play Legacy. That's why I play the decks I play. They're thinking hard about this mulligan. So either it has protection but can't quite go off, or it can go off without protection, and they're deciding if like trying to draw into it is worth doing. Because if there was just like a clear protected line, they would have kept already. Okay, so they have kept, though they thought about it for a long time. All right, deck. I'm gonna get Tundra and Ponder, and then I need to survive the turn. Maybe Brainstorm is actually better. Because Brainstorm could find me a second force and the land. though I am looking specifically for land, so I'm going to ponder. All right, so I did in fact find the lands. All right, so they have to kill me with backup this turn, or else Containment Priest and Rest in Peace are gonna shut it down. All right, looks like they're making a move. Oh, Veil of Summer, yuck. I mean, I'll counter it, make them think about it a little bit. That could have just been a really smart hymn to Turok, but I do want to make them at least think about what I might have. All right, cool. Made it to untap step. I'm gonna play Rest in Peace because if they Pact of Negation this, then they lose on their upkeep. But if I wait till their turn to try to snipe them with Containment Priest, then they can Pact it and they can just win that turn. And GG. All right, easy game. 8 minutes for the first round. Let's go on to the next one. I'm on the draw with this perfectly reasonable hand. I got Brainstorms, Force of Will, a threat. Let's do it. All right, we got a Polluted Delta. Could be some control deck or a combo deck. Could be Delver. Delver is likely going to be Grixis these days instead of Rug. So we'll see. Could be a lot of things still. Ooh, a Marsh Flat. This could be Esper Vile. This could be Callum Sweet Esper Mentor deck. I'm just gonna let them have this Inquisition. So I think brainstorming when I can get a shuffle is gonna be worth more than hiding my Hull Breacher now. Like, do I even care about that? All right, yeah, they took the brainstorm anyway. They don't even care about Hull Breacher. All right, so I'm just gonna make my land drop. If they play another discard spell, maybe I'll brainstorm, but I'm not gonna like brainstorm hoping to hit a fetch land. I can take my time on this. Just hit my land drops. That's always stage one when you're playing these decks. Yeah, this looks like it could be Callum's deck. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. All right, so I'm gonna put the replenish into the deck, or let's see. I'm definitely putting Hall of Heliod on top because I need my third land drop. Um, do I want to have replenish for later, or do I not care about that? I'll tuck a Swords to Plowshares and Hall in that order. Then they can go ahead and hit me with this. Took Force and Hull Breacher. Yeah, those are basically the best two cards they could take. Though Supreme Verdict, if they are the Mentor deck, is also going to be pretty good. The bad news is I don't have a fourth land, and this isn't going anywhere fast. Good news is I'm very set up to kill a Monastery Mentor right now. I do think this Esper Mentor deck, if that is what they're playing, is really cool. And I hope to play it on the channel sooner than later. Yikes, getting hymned again. Shredded to shreds, you say? I guess I'm about to draw another plow. I probably should have just let let the hymn maybe take that one. they've gotten multiple 2-for-1s off me. They himmed for a 2-for-1. They himmed for another 2-for-1, and the Snapcaster, that was a 1-for-1. Jeez. Alright, well, this is gonna miss. I get to plow Snapcaster in response to Inquisition, and they can't take Verdict. Alright, here we are. They've done their best to clear the way for Monastery Mentor, but I am a white source away from punishing that. Now I have a force that they don't know about. Like if they just jam Jace the Mind Sculptor or something this turn, or another Hymn to Drak. Oh my god, that card is back. Okay, another mana source. That's good. Now all of my Monarch cards are on if I draw them. They're holding up Hardcast Force right now. Okay, this is sweet. I can deploy this. Hopefully they have another discard spell. Alright, it wasn't a discard spell, so maybe it's removal. I'm just going to cast this as a 3/3. Or a 3/1. It's flying mode. Yeah, they can plow it. That takes them off the Hardcast Force of Will. Now I draw a Court of Grace, and just like we drew it up. Oh no. Okay, Hardcast Force negation. That's fine. That actually sucks a lot because I can't even regrow it with Hall of Heliod now. If they had to Force of Will that, I would have been able to present this every other turn as a threat. I'm playing out my lands. I'm not bluffing because they've already shown me multiple Hymn to Draks. Alright, no land drop with 4 cards in hand. That means that they have 4 spells in hand or 3 spells and they're slow rolling 1 land for a Brainstorm. Alright, so you Brainstorm. I'm holding this Snapcaster as long as I can to try to play around discard. Like I would like for them to commit to a discard spell, then I play Snapcaster. Like discard as good as it is in the early game, like we saw my hand just get shredded into dust by Hymn to Turok. Alright, so I'm gonna target Swords to Plowshares here. I'm responding to Mentor because if they want to force my Snapcaster, I don't want them to get the token off of it. Okay, yeah, so avoided a token with that. But they do have Mentor now, so that's also scary. My deck plays a lot of removal though. Pay me out here. That's not removal. Alright, now let's see where this goes. Oh, Teferi's awfully good. They're probably just gonna... Oh, I would think they would draw a card there, unless they're gonna Hymn to Turok me in my upkeep. That's really good. So I could draw a fresh card, but immediately lose the Monarchy. I don't think that is where I want to be with my life. I really wish that was Shark Typhoon. That's basically the best draw right now. And Supreme Verdict is very good, and Shark Typhoon is second best card. Yeah, this stupid Mentor showed up 1 turn too early, or Court showed up 1 turn too late, depending on what side of the cup you like filled. Yeah, there are 2 more Verdicts in my main deck. This Teferi is just on 1,000. And all their spells must be reactive. They had cantrips and stuff. I think they'd just be firing them off. All right, there's a Shark Typhoon. All right, so now I can at least pressure in combat. Yikes. Second mentor. Scary stuff. So I'm going to respond to Teferi's activation by fetching. This way I at least have my lands in play before they can cast Hymn to Tarok. I'm going to make the biggest possible shark because if they have Swords to Plowshares, I want to gain a lot of life off it. And they activated Teferi pre-combat, so they can't just bounce the shark second main. Oh, yikes, Fatal Push. All right, I don't gain any life off that one. I get a redraw off of the Shark Typhoon on Supreme Verdict. As Plow is a little late here. I'm at 5 life. So I don't have time to pick up this Shark Typhoon. I just needed Supreme Verdict that turn and didn't find it. All right, we both got into top deck mode, or at least no action mode, and then they found Mentor right before I found Court of Cunning, and that was the game. And they had Force of Negation for my Court of Grace, which if they had Force of Will, I would have been okay with. So tough beats, but it's fine. Back to basics looks like it'll be pretty good against their deck. Flusterstorm and Dovin's Veto are 1-for-1s on Hymn to Tarok, which is what I'm interested in right now. Don't think I need any of this other stuff. Like Council's Judgment could remove a Planeswalker, but in general, I think Supreme Verdict and Moat are what I'm trying to play for. So 4 cards coming in. What's coming out? I think Force of Negation can come out. It doesn't counter Mentor, and I'm unlikely to counter a Hymn to Tarok with it, unless I'm trying to protect something very specific. Could also cut Force of Will, I guess. They showed me Teferi, though fighting over Mentor seems important. I am bringing in counterspells, though, so it's not like I have the same number of counterspells in my deck, but now they're just better. Uh, 2 more cuts. Maybe I won't bring in both back to basics. I'll just bring in one because I do have Crucible Wasteland, which is also good against their non-basic plan. Court of Cunning is the wild card here because it's very good if I get it onto the stable board before Mentor shows up, and it's very bad if I draw it after the Mentor. Though I think Brazen Borrower is worse than Court. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep this. I have the Flusterstorm for the Hymn to Tarok. That's step 1. If I find my 3rd land, I get to make every land drop the rest of the game with my Crucible. Alright, cool. Glad this was Ponder and not Inquisition. I would have Flusterstormed in Inquisition, just because it's going to take Flusterstorm anyway. Alright, there's land number 3. So I can curve Flusterstorm your him into back to basics you. None of these lands get basic planes though, which is troublesome. And it feels like it's 2018 again. It's Flusterstorming him to Tarok on turn 2. Kinda love it. Post-ban Legacy. And Flooded Strand. All right, I'm gonna go for the back to basics here. I'd be surprised if this resolves. Wow, that's big money. There's my basic planes. I can start hitting land drops. Unstoppable. And endless land drops coming soon. And I don't even care about the cards in my hand very much right now. All right, so I'm going to fetch in my upkeep, just one less land to draw in the deck. Drew one anyway. It is how it goes. Now I can hardcast Force. My back to basics is really good. Maybe I do want both of them in the deck. Do you have a basic? All right, there is. I think we saw a Swamp last game too. So there are basics in this deck. But not as many as me. Yeah, now we're just chilling. I'm not in a hurry to put this mode on the stack. I want to have a little bit of a fight before we get there. I want to run them down on resources a little bit. They currently have 8 cards in hand. Wow. All right, they found all 3 of their colors. So if they go for Mentor, I can hardcast Force on it. And even if it resolves, I have Plow. And even if Plow gets countered, I have Moat. Yeah, this is the fight I was looking for to get their hand nice and low. And now I can jam this Moat. Did they have an extra counter after all? All right, so I'm actually going to start wasting them, even though these lands are already neutralized, in case they can remove my back to basics somehow. Might as well get their actual land count down. Like if they have days that could pick it up. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't completely memorize Callum's list. All right, so I'm on a 16 turn clock. I have these 2 super dead fetch lands here that Brainstorm can turn into juice at some point. Found the Plow, so if I become the Monarch, I can protect it. A Shark Typhoon will blow this game right open. I've certainly done what I'm supposed to do. Now it's up to my deck to actually produce a win condition. I don't think they have more basics than this. Oh no, my life total. All right, there's that Brainstorm I was looking for. All right, guess I'm out of basics to fetch. Yeah, I drew one. That's what happened there. All right, I don't want all this removal. Hull Breacher looks pretty good. So Hull Breacher can attack. Hull Breacher plus Moat's a bit of a non-bow, but stopping them from drawing extra cards is always nice. Like if they just go for a Brainstorm here. Wow. So they could have removal here. That's not surprising or particularly. That's not like special or anything. Just we played a long game here. Not surprised they have removal. And now we're back to our holding pattern. No Strix, no problem. All right, Teferi. Let's see how this goes. So I'm just going to draw a card immediately. We're in that phase of the game where just having more cards is better than not having more cards. I don't think I'm going to need to cast any sorceries. I think they're just going to have to kill me with Baleful Strix at this point. And I can start wasting the fetch lands. All right, yep, Vindicate. And they used it on Teferi instead of Moat or Back to Basics. That's really interesting. Okay, so Snapcaster Brainstorm is really good in here. And I'm doing this in my main phase because I have so many powerful enchantments and sorcery speed spells, like all of those ones. Putting the island back in my deck because that's one of my last fetchable lands. And then they can force this or they can lose, basically. And even if they do force it, I have another one. All right, then I'm going to start milling them out. I don't think they have a flash threat that they can take the Monarch with or a haste threat. Oh, they do have another basic. All right. All right, I've drawn a lot of lands considering I've fetched all the lands out of my deck. All right, I'm definitely going to mill them. I guess they could Snapcast or Vindicate. All right, yeah, take 2 lands out of my hand. Go for it. Yeah, I guess drawing all those lands is a nice little Hymn to Tarok insulation as well. Strix of 1 mind. Another Strix. Jace just got milled. All right. They're probably running low on win conditions over there. So I could play a second court and just double mill them. Just mill them for 20 next turn instead of 10. Though if they have like Brazen Borrower or some flash card, this would blow me out even harder. Oh wow, they pitched for the Force of Negation even though they have mana. That makes me think they might actually have a flash threat. But if they did, they would not have countered that. Okay, they have that flash threat, that's fine. I can live with that. I can beat that one. It doesn't attack me. And I can just Supreme Verdict it out of here. Yeah, drawing cards is just part of what Court of Cunning does. Oh, hello. Waste ya. Alright, what was their draw? It was not another Hull Breacher. Alright, yeah, they're dead. They have 10 cards in their deck. They're about to get milled out. Alright, so this is their graveyard right now. Hull Breacher of 1 mind. 1 Jace I can see. 4 basics, 1 Jace. So with the 4 basics, and now that they know they should fetch for them, I still think 1 back to basics is the right number, especially with the Wasteland to back it up. Yeah, I am sort of pinching them from 2 directions there. Oh, if they have Graveyard Hate that they didn't bring in Game 2, they probably will bring it in Game 3. And I have all my removal for the Hull Breachers, so yeah, I think this is a perfectly presentable deck. Council's Judgment for Jace or Teferi, I guess, is the last potential card I might want that's not in my deck already. I'm off it. This is the deck. I'm gonna keep this. I can pretty safely assume my hand's gonna get shredded by discard no matter what I keep, so I'm definitely not gonna just mulligan. But this hand has Island Ponder, which is a hand I basically always keep anyway. They had their basic. They did not shuffle. Maybe I should have played Tundra. No, I guess it's not gonna matter. I have a lot of lands coming here. So court, land, do not shuffle. All right, so even if I get shredded by discard here, I am pretty well set up for a turn 3 Court of Cunning. And they can't cast Hymn to Tarok because they played Basic Island on turn 1. Yeah, these basics do not line up well with Hymn to Tarok in your deck. Though Baleful Strix does line up very well with my turn 3 Court. So I'm not going to be able to do that like I wanted to. Though I do have a pretty sweet replenish line lining up here. All right, they didn't hymn me. So I'm planning on trading my Shark for they're representing Hull Breacher here. So if they cast Hull Breacher in the end step, I'll make a 1/1 Shark in response, so I still get to draw the card. Yeah, this is a game where Supreme Verdict's going to be important to find. All right, that Flusterstorm, little awkward at this point, though it can protect my Hull Breacher. Or my Replenish. Yeah, I might be working to a place where I just replenish Shark Typhoon into play and then play a bunch of spells. Though this Hull Breacher is tough business right now. I would pretty happily trade my Hull Breacher for theirs. Yuck. Alright, well they already had Hull Breacher, that barely matters. Teferi matters a little bit more. Maybe I should have just attacked Narset with that. No blocks, attack Narset, but if they have Fatal Push, then that gets me. So I could back to basics here. They've tapped their white source. And that has the Teferi waiting. So what do I think this game looks like if I play back to basics here instead of Hull Breacher? I mean, they could just play Teferi and bounce it next turn if they have another white source. But they're going to bounce Hull Breacher anyway. Yeah, I think I'm going to play to the line where they just don't have white mana. Yeah, I think they do have a counterspell and they're deciding if they care about this. I guess I should decide if I care about it too. Like if they go to fight over this, I guess I should fight back because the Teferi will blank Flusterstorm anyway. Okay, that Brainstorm's fine because it tapped their Underground Sea, and if they are digging for a counterspell, then I can fluster the counterspell. Like I could just fluster the Brainstorm, but I would like to get a force out of their hand too. All right, that was not what was going on. So they lost their Underground Sea and did not find what they were looking for. And I still get to cast Flusterstorm if I want to. And I guess the worst thing for me is if they just go like basic planes to Fairy. All right, so they can, yeah, Teferi can come in, it can bounce back to basics, but I can just replay it. But now I can't fight back over it. All right, yeah, or they can do that. That's also fine. Whatever. Yeah, I gotta find one of my zillions of removal spells here. I play so many of them. I could just Brazen Borrow this now that they don't have 3 mana up. Oh, almost cast Ponder. Almost got me. So I can Brazen Borrow this. Just put it back in your hand. Get it out of here. All right. Surprised that worked, but I'll take it. Um, if I play Court of Cunning, then I don't draw a card. I could mill them, but Teferi can just bounce it, and I lose these 2 lands out of the deal. I think I should probably Ponder just to look at my top 3 cards. I could also just cast Hull Breacher right now, but Teferi's there to bounce it. Teferi is eventually going to bounce something. They have Swords of Plowshares in hand, but no white source yet. I could just play Brazen Borrower and pressure the Planeswalkers. I don't really want to commit my non-basics to anything yet because this replenish is kind of important. Okay, so Ponder's bad. Teferi's pretty good. All right, so Teferi's on top of my deck. That can at least protect my replenish to resolve, and then I'll have a Shark Typhoon in play. I don't know, this has been a really weird game. I'm kind of stuck under my own back to basics a little bit. I'm more stuck under their Narset than anything. Though if they miss their land drop, they don't get to replay their Hull Breacher and the pressure's off, and that situation favors me. And if they bounce back to basics, they still don't get to untap right away, and I can replay it. All right, so Hull Breacher is not coming into play this turn. No, bummer. There goes Hull Breacher. But they can't take the Replenish, which is the actual scary card here. And I can play my own Teferi. Oh, they took my Flusterstorm. Did they know they have Teferi in play? That card was already not here. Okay. What does that even do? Yeah, like taking Flusterstorm there doesn't matter. What do I want to fight over? As I can replay the back to basics. Like they bounce this because they have a counterspell for it. And then the question is, what is the most important thing for me to resolve here? The trick with Back to Basics is it has limited value because if I don't resolve it now, they're going to get to untap and play other spells and nothing's going to matter. All right, I'll play Back to Basics. Because if they do counter it, it'll be in the graveyard for this Replenish. And that's a counterspell they don't have for the Replenish. Oh, JK. Force of Negation does actually remove it for good. All right, then I can double spell next turn. I can Teferi plus Hull Breacher. Yeah, this has been a pretty good game. I'm excited about it. Though this Narset in play on 1 is kind of frustrating because I did block the Baleful Strix with that Shark 1,000 turns ago, and Narset has been crushing me now, so I think that was a mistake. Like, they shouldn't have attacked with Baleful Strix, and I shouldn't have blocked. I was just on this. I was tunnel visioned on getting my Monarch card into play and controlling their creatures, but that's just not really what this game is about. So that was me fucking it up. So my plan on my turn is going land to Fairy, bounce their Hull Breacher, play my Hull Breacher. Oh yikes, that's not Hull Breacher. Oh, do you have him to Turok, you monster? Ouch! Please don't hit Replenish. Of course they hit Replenish. And Hull Breacher. That's bad. Real bad. Bad news. Alright, so that resolved. I want to get this Monk out of here. Bouncing Mentor doesn't do anything. Just doesn't matter. And I know they have Swords to Plowshares for this, but gotta get through them eventually. Yeah, Shark Typhoon is the card I needed a long time ago. Haven't found it yet. Yeah, the Monarch cards have looked really bad when I don't draw any of my many removal spells. And they still have that Hull Breacher in their hand. And Supreme Verdict would be pretty good here. Teferi's back on bounce level, so we're just in trouble all around here. Hitting that Replenish was brutal. Yeah, the Ponder sucks because not only, like, I'm not going to draw a card anyway, but they have Hull Breacher that they get to straight up steal the draw. Oh, they didn't use it though. Yeah, this isn't helpful. So I could play my Court of Cunning, but milling doesn't seem like it's going to matter, and I definitely don't want them to be the Monarch. So yeah, I've lost this game. I guess Supreme Verdict right now could buy me some time, but this is still really bad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, it doesn't look like they have 2 spells to cast. All right, it's Supreme Verdict or bust. GG. All right, really cool game. Discard has always been the bane of blue-white control decks, and if we're moving into a phase of Legacy right now where Hymn to Turok is a playable card again, I'm going to need more Flusterstorms in the sideboard to deal with them, because that really is the biggest problem in blue-white historically. Going all the way back to the Miracles days, just getting discarded is really tough, because then they can see exactly what kind of answers you have and how you can play them, and they can take the one they care about the most. Then Hymn to Turok just being the straight up stripping lands, possibly, or like, yeah, just being a clean 2-for-1 starting on turn 2 that messes up your whole plan. That is a scary card that wasn't in Legacy for a long time, but it seems to be back. So gonna have to keep that one in mind moving forward. On the draw with a no-lander. Easy mulligan. All right, Island Ponder. I'll keep it. I'm gonna send one of these to Fairies to the Shadow Realm. This hand is pretty well rounded. Has a cantrip, some answers to stuff. Oh my god. This must be a liquid metal coating deck. Gorilla Shaman. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hold up this Flooded Strand. If they cast liquid metal coating next turn, I'll plow Gorilla Shaman in response. Goblin Engineer. Okay, let me see what they entomb with this. Yeah, there's the coating. So I can plow Gorilla Shaman so I don't have to worry about coding, or I can plow engineer so coding doesn't come into play. I think that's what I want to do. Yeah, I'm going to plow the engineer. Null Rod's going to be really good against this deck, though. All right, now I'm definitely plowing engineer. All right, you get out of here. All right, found the land right away. That's good news. Another Swords to Plowshares. Do I even want that? I don't think so. Then I'm going to ponder again right away. Replenish Shark Typhoon Supreme Verdict. No, I want lands. All right. Moto really wanted me to have that Supreme Verdict right now. But Supreme Verdict, I think, is an easy pitch to Force of Will if I need to force something. Like anything that would result in liquid metal coating coming into play, I'm going to Force of Will. Whether it be Goblin Welder, Goblin Engineer, coating itself, just off the top. Steel Hellkite, I love it. I can't really beat that either. All right, come on, deck. Land. All right, good. We got there on the land. Teferi's going to bounce one of the gorillas and then just die. I just don't think that Teferi's... Actually, that's not true. I'll trade off a shark with a gorilla in combat. Please don't draw liquid metal coating. Okay, just flashback faithless looting. I can deal with that. I wish I had Hull Breacher right now. All right, here they come. Make a shark. This is much better than bouncing with Teferi and losing Teferi. This does the same thing as far as getting me deeper into my deck for the same amount of mana, but this actually kills a gorilla instead of just bouncing it. Okay, nice. Now I can make a 2/2 shark, and if they have an equipment or a liquid metal coating, I can just pat the gorilla in response. All right, here we go. 2/2 shark. Do 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 do. All right, now I'm ahead. Went from please don't have liquid metal coating to me being ahead pretty quickly there. All right, Dak Faden. There's nothing to steal. It's probably just gonna loot, try to fix their hand a bit. Wormcoil Engine and Inkwell Leviathan. So they're definitely a Goblin Welder deck. I'm gonna brainstorm, try to find some action here. Oh, fuck yeah, Hull Breacher. So Crucible and Path to Exile. I'm gonna keep Path in hand, but probably Teferi and Crucible on top in that order. opponent in the chat saying we're playing dual decks, Sharks versus Gorillas. All right, I'm going to attack Dak. So now I can Hull Breacher in response to Dak, which will result in me getting 2 treasures and then discarding their whole hand. And I have Path to Exile in case they have anything. Like in case they can somehow put the Steel Hellkite into play. And surprise, Pirates are joining the party. If you don't have Red Blast or Lightning Bolt, this game is probably over. All right, yep, Hull Breacher versus Dak is a tough matchup. All right, Null Rod coming in, Pithing Needle also. Back to basics, looks like it's going to be insane here. Seal of Cleansing, Stony Silence is my other Null Rod. Didn't really see instants or sorceries out of them. Containment Priest could manage some Welder shenanigans, but Rest in Peace also manages Welder shenanigans, and probably much more completely. And I think I want Council's Judgment. We saw Dak, which can be a troublesome permanent. I feel like they can beat a Moat. And I'm bringing in my Rest in Pieces, so Replenish, Snapcaster, and Crucible should all take a break. A Supreme Verdict. I want some number left because Inkwell Leviathan's tough to answer in general, but actually I guess, oh, they had Steel Hellkite also. I was just thinking about Moat versus Supreme Verdict. I think Hull Breacher is part of my plan. I think Force of Negation might be less important with all this stuff I'm bringing in. Teferi is sort of a generic answer to permanence, which is good, but it is a 3 mana, not particularly useful spell, which is bad. I don't think I need the 5th path in this matchup, and I'm going to shave a Court of Cunning because they did come out early with a number of 1/1s. Their deck, we saw Gorilla Shaman and Goblin Engineer, and we can assume Goblin Welders in this deck, so they have a lot of 1 mana 1/1s that I'm going to have to stabilize before I can play on our card anyway. So I think this looks good. I actually think Moat would be pretty solid against this deck. If I bring it back in, where's it going to go? And do I need it? Maybe playing both back to basics isn't necessary, but they didn't show me a single basic land. They did have artifact mana though. Alright, I'll do Moat as one of these. I do still have my Wastelands in the deck, even though the Crucible's out. Okay, I think this is fine. No blue mana, but Pithing Needle's very strong. 2 Force of Wills. I'm actually going to keep this. Like having 2 forces against a deck like this is trying to pop off early. It's pretty good. So I'm just going to Needle Gorilla Shaman. It would be tempting to Needle Liquid Metal Coating, but then Gorilla Shaman could just destroy Pithing Needle, which defeats the entire point of that. Alright, I am going to need a blue source pretty soon. Alright, Mox Opal's not on yet. Goblin Engineer. I think that gets forced. So I'm going to force pitching. I think Shark Typhoon is the pitch, unfortunately. Alright, I am going to Wasteland them because that takes them off blue and takes them farther off of Metalcraft. And it's not really helping me cast my spells. But now we're in the danger zone. It's like draw a blue land or perish, basically, at this point. Uh-oh. Getting punished. There are 20 lands in my deck. Oh, okay, so they can actually red blast here. Let's see what we got. All right, they didn't red blast. Really wish I had Swords of Plowshares to just cleanly answer that instead of have to force it. The old looting down to one card. Oh, Wasteling them was not that helpful. Uh-oh. Yeah, they discarded 2 lands to their Faithless Looting, so mana was clearly not their problem. Blood Sun. That card is actually really horrific for me. This is so much worse than Blood Moon, and it's not even close. Blood Moon, I can at least tap my fetch lands for mana. Blood Sun, they're just completely dead. Oh god. I'm gonna die to this Gorilla Shaman. Alright, the Faithless Looting from the graveyard. Whatever. Sundering Titan. Yikes. My basic land. Alright, deck. It's not funny anymore. There are 21 lands in my deck, so slightly better than 1 in 3 cards in my deck is a land, and I've drawn 6 cards right now without a land. Now they get to just go completely bananas with Dak. Their hand's going to be perfect, whatever that means to them. Is their hand already perfect? Why hasn't Dak been activated yet? Wow, Dak just in play, no activation. Oh my god. They have Red Blast. Alright, that's fine. Red Blasting a Ponder aggressively like that is totally cool with me. Because at some point I'm gonna want to get like a Shark into play and trade off with this Gorilla. Yeah, the no loot last turn was really interesting. Like they are a graveyard deck, so oh god, I'm gonna lose to this. Antiquities War. So they get to look at their top 5 cards twice, put an artifact into their hand, and then on the 3rd turn, all their artifacts become 5/5s. I've won a lot of games in Modern with this card. Oh my god, Toymaker. Discard a card, target non-creature artifact becomes... Oh my god, that's another way to kill lands with liquid metal coating. So even if I find a land on each of the next 2 turns, I'm going to be a turn late to deal with the Antiquities War. I guess I could find land, and my disenchant, not stony, seal of cleansing, which could beat up destroy the Antiquities War before it goes off. All right, so, oh wait, I did the math wrong. I actually will resolve Moat the turn before this is able to pop off. Yeah, okay. We're actually good. Maybe as good as you can be under these circumstances. Winter Orb, stop. Though they don't really want to cast Winter Orb right now. Because I guess they could cast Winter Orb off Opal and Mountain. And then they actually still have all their attackers coming into next turn. Winter Orb's brutal though. Alright, Moat, save me. I snuck mode into the deck at the last second in sideboarding. I wasn't going to play it at first and then decided to put it in at the very end. That's funny. They're stealing my Pithing Needle thinking they're going to get to attack with a 5/5. But I've betrayed you. Right. There is a back to basics in my deck, right? Yeah. But I don't think that's even good right now, so I'm just going to get good mana. Boom. Classic Moat versus the Antiquities War legacy play pattern. Oh no, you had Spell Pierce. All right, GG. Okay, so they do have counter spells in this deck. Good to know. All right. So that game was close despite me missing my land drop for 6 turns. So let's just prioritize keeping a stable hand this time. I do think he's sort of caught the backside of variance there, but I mean, it can happen. Like, I'm not mad about it. Just it is unlikely, and I would keep that hand most of the time. But I'm going to prioritize stable mana, especially now that I know they play Blood Sun and Winter Orb. Those are both scary. I'm going to bring in Force of Negation, actually. Uh, yeah, they Dak, Blood Sun, Winter Orb. I can probably imagine Karn the Great Creator is in their deck. Like, that's kind of the point of a deck like this. So back to basics plus Null Rod is pretty crushing on them. Is Court of Cunning even like presentable? Because they've had so many 1/1s the whole time, but I do have all these plows. Ugh, it's close. I'm submitting this deck. Okay, stable mana, a disenchant effect, a force, pressure. Something that removes and something that pressures. Yeah, this hand is about as good as it's going to get. It's also extremely resilient to Blood Sun. I'm not sure if that's going to matter, but it is true. All right, do I just Seal of Cleansing their land? Just straight up Hadoken mode or save it for something juicier? Going after the land, fuck it. You want to Gorilla Shaman me? I'll Gorilla Shaman you. uh, I could pop the Seed of the Synod, just try to shut them out of here completely. So I will. I can play this mana denial game too. And Brazen Borrower can bounce Gorilla Shaman if they don't have another mana source. I'm going to take the one and see if they go to their end step, and then they'll have to go to discard also. Alright, shut it down. Hateful, hateful shit. I'm going to use my Shark instead of my Ponder. Just get some damage on the board, and I still end up drawing an extra card. Ooh, that's kind of a mana source. Alright, this would be a great time for Court of Cunning. It's an even better time for Stony Silence, holy shit. Alright, I want the plains. They're going to be disappointed here. This might get a scoop. Yeah, so what happened last game where I had no mana and just floundered and died is happening to them this game. But it's because I screwed them, not because they kept a bad hand. So a little mana denial goes a long way. I'm gonna deploy Brazen Borrower this turn instead of brainstorming. I think adding to the clock is more important than trying to fix my hand. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're packing it up. Hate card's too good. I'm on the draw in round 4 with an Island Ponder hand. I'll keep it. I wish it had a Force of Will, but it doesn't. So here we are. It doesn't look like we're going to need Force of Will. So this could be Doomsday or some control deck. I guess maybe Blue-Red Delver is possible too, but my spider sense is saying Doomsday, but we don't actually have enough information to be sure about anything. All right, that second land is nice. So I'm going to fetch basic and look for a force. And like, I'm not going to shuffle away a solid ponder if it doesn't have force, but if I saw a force in the ponder, I would have put it in my hand. Finding the third land here. Ooh, is this show and tell? Or is it a Days Undoing Hull Breacher deck of some variety? Starting to look like show and tell to me. Luckily, I have 7 cards in hand. Even if they're not good, my opponent doesn't know that. All right, so I'm just going to pass. I'm not going to ponder, because if I ponder and they Hull Breacher and I plow and they counterspell, then I'm going to end up being way behind. But I can just play. If they had a move they could make last turn, they decided to play cautiously instead of making it. So if they're going to play cautious, I'm going to let them play cautious and just keep hitting my land drops. Because I would rather play cautious. That's definitely the side of this boat I want to be on. All right, so now I have a Hull Breacher. Well, I already had a Hull Breacher, but now I can cast them. So I'm gonna end step cast a Hull Breacher if they don't do anything else. All right, I'll brainstorm looking for an answer to this. Didn't find one. Moat's not gonna help. So I'm gonna end up putting in Hull Breacher and hoping that they put in Grizzlebrand. Or putting in Omniscience that needs to cantrip to keep going. All right, I guess this resolves. Uh-oh. Yeah, they just had Emrakul. All right, I'm dead. All right. Omni Show confirmed. So this matchup is a Dovin's Veto and Flusterstorm and Deafening Silence and Containment Priest. So Deafening Silence might not seem obvious against Show and Tell because it's not a Storm deck that's trying to cast a bunch of spells in the same turn, but what they are trying to do is protect a spell with counterspells, and if they cast Show and Tell and you counter back, they've already cast their spell for the turn, so they can't counter your counter. So Deafening Silence makes sure you win counter wars. Seal of Cleansing hits Omniscience and Show and Tell, or Sneak Attack. Wow, took a long time to find the right words for that. Pithing Needle can name Sneak Attack or Grizzlebrand. Council's Judgment can answer Emrakul if they have like the turn 1 Show and Tell, put in Emrakul go kind of hand. These plows aren't great. Supreme Verdict is not good. Moat doesn't matter. I might want to leave in some plows in case they pivot onto the Arcane Artisan. I'm not sure if that's in their list, but I don't want to be completely helpless to it if it is. What else doesn't matter much here? And Caracas is great. Like, this is one of the reasons Caracas is in the deck. I don't think Crucible of Worlds is going to matter in this matchup. I'm going to have lands or not. I'm looking for 2 more cuts. Brazen Borrower isn't great. Teferi's very good. Teferi does the same thing that Deafening Silence does, which is make sure that I win all the counter wars. Hullbreacher's fine, yeah. Brazen Borrower is also a flash threat, though, so it might be better than Swords to Plowshares, and it's definitely better than Replenish. This is not a Replenish matchup, so this is what I'm bringing in. Then a bunch of creature removal, and then my slow engines are coming out. I don't need slow engines, I just need to stay alive and then apply pressure. All right, here we go. Sometimes in control decks, blue-white control decks, you have to bring in back to basics against show and tell just for Boseiju, but because I built my deck with Wasteland in it, I don't need to do that. All right, I'm going to keep this hand. And I think I'm just going to jam Deafening Silence. I guess with double force, I don't really need to do that. I'll ponder, try to hit some land drops first. That's not the land I was looking for. I will shuffle this. Yikes. So I have a lot of forces. Oh, basic mountain. Didn't see any red mana last game. Please don't red blast this. Jeez, come on, deck. All right, actually hit a land drop. Not what I was looking for, but it is a land. I'm playing Deafening Silence next turn. It's go time. I gotta get some protection here. What the fuck is this? Oh, defense grid. I will fight over that. They're clearly showing me red blast here. That kind of sucks. If I had my land drop, I would ignore this, but I don't have a land drop. And if they have red blast now, they'll have it next turn also. So I'm gonna force pitching Shark Typhoon. Force of Will. Oh, they didn't have red blast. That's lucky. Nice. All right, fuck you. That might have been aggressive, but I'm still gonna do it. Like the colorless mana is not doing a whole lot for me. I guess it would have given me a 1/1 shark, but taking them off, sneak attack feels pretty good. All right, still got my 1/1 shark, and I'm holding up force negation. All right, we're starting to get the hooks in. Yeah, now they're just going to start jamming spells, though, because there's no reason to sculpt a hand. Because they can't respawn anyway. So they're just going to start shoving their junk onto the stack. All right, I'm going to cycle my Shark Typhoon, see what happens. If I can find another blue card and keep one of my forces in hand, I'll do that. All right, that didn't happen. Too bad. I'm going to take a draw and not put Shark Typhoon on top. All right, Teferi is not the worst thing that there's ever been, but it's also not good. I'm going to leave Teferi in play on 5 in case they just like show and tell a monster into play. Though I am in bad shape here. Like they can sneak attack me now. They've just worked through all of my hate. If they have sneak attack plus a monster, they can just do it all right now. Okay, Cunning Wish. I don't mind that so much. Yeah, it's not sneak attack, so I'll take it. What do you wish for here? Probably some bounce spell, maybe Red Blast. Like, if they wish for like intuition to look for a show and tell, okay, yeah, that's a 3-turn line because they can only cast 1 spell per turn and they can't cast spells on my turn. So I don't mind that. Brainstorm's pretty good here. I'm gonna bounce nothing and draw a card, try to juice up this Brainstorm a bit. So yeah, now that I've drawn Brazen Borrower, I'm just gonna cast it and start attacking. Oh, using Brainstorm instead of the intuition they got. What is this even for if you're not going to use it? Yeah, Deafening Silence has just absolutely shut down this game. Yeah, that's really interesting, that Cunning Wish line. Maybe they just didn't have a better play, but it didn't seem good when they did it, and it seems even worse now that they've spent a turn brainstorming. Though they're still pretty far from dead, so don't have to be super worried about that. Snapcaster Mage, what do you do? Are you helpful at all? Not really. I can snap Brainstorm or snap Ponder. Guess let's see if I'm dead this turn. Well, they are dead on board, so they better kill me this turn. Oh no, do they have the sneak attack? This is my nightmare. So I'm not dead to Emrakul. They do have to have both, but they could easily have both. Yeah, 1 mana short of Force of Negation here. All right, please don't have both. Like, I do actually beat Emrakul. Damn it. All right, they had them both. I guess I can still... Oh no, because if I snap Ponder, then I can't plow if I find plow. So I am just dead here. All right, fine. Just making sure there's nothing I can do. Yeah, there's not. Okay. They threaded the needle right at the very end. They were able to present enough things to whittle my hand down, and then I sort of petered out 1 turn before they were dead. So tough. Sneak and Show is historically a tough matchup for these blue-white decks. You have to sideboard pretty aggressively against them. This didn't have a Containment Priest. That would have shut down that game too. All right, next one. On to the final round. And I'm on the play against some sort of Yorion deck. Obviously, there's no landers getting mulliganed. Ugh. It's not getting better. All right, that's much better. So I'm going to send Scalding Tarn and Scalding Tarn to the bottom. So basically, my plan here is to draw a land and cast Court of Cunning. All right, looks like they are the Yorion. Could be Death and Taxes, could be Maverick, could be some other deck. Fuck. All right, now I have to make the decision. All right, I'm not going to fight over this. The Court of Cunning plan is off the table. So I'm going to navigate this like it's a normal Death and Taxes league or Death and Taxes matchup at this point. Just try to play to the board and get to a point where I'm ahead of them. I think I can safely pitch this Court of Cunning because it's not going to come up for a long time. I guess I could have forced pitching Force of Negation, then just run out a Naked Snapcaster and hope to draw a land, but that sounds so fucking bad. All right. Glad I didn't make that play. It was not a good one. Now I can turn this Force... Oh god. Come on, deck. I play so many lands. This is outrageous. All right, Force of Negation's not helpful. Snapcaster Brainstorm is a line I might be interested in. All right, I'm gonna just get rid of these forces. And I will shuffle them away. I don't want them. I want to work up to this Supreme Verdict. That's my plan. All right, what terrifying thing do you have for me now? Spirit of Labyrinth, that's pretty brutal. That puts real pressure on Teferi, as well as stopping me from drawing any extra cards if I find a cantrip. So like my Snap Brainstorm line I was hoping for doesn't exist. This Ponder is not helpful. God, that sucks. All right. Turns out that specifically because of what matchup I'm playing, my plan to bottom 2 lands on my Multi 5 is getting absolutely punished. If I had um, just bottomed the Force and the Court of Cunning and just had 5 lands to play, I think I would easily win this game. But instead, here we are. Fuck you, deck. All right, I'm gonna Ponder just to see the cards. Swords of Plowshare is not helpful. Okay, I'm not gonna shuffle. I'm gonna try to make this work. So I take 6, I play Wasteland, I take 6, I play Supreme Verdict. If they don't waste my waste, which I think would be definitely the correct play if they have it available to them. But if they want to play this Yorion, then they don't really have that available. Maybe I can soak up some damage with this Teferi, just plus him. All right, let's hope they don't Wasteland me. Fuck, they didn't fall for it, not for 1 second. They've played Death and Taxes before. Apparition, okay, yeah, now I'm dead. 6, yeah, I go to 2. Yeah, there's no... Yeah, just missed my land drops in my 21 land deck after casting 2 cantrips. What are you gonna do? Multi 5, punished. All right, the good news though is that this matchup is incredibly positive for us. I just need to know what we're playing against to make better mulligan decisions. Seal of Cleansing. Anything that interacts with artifacts and enchantments is good. Anything that removes a creature is good. I do like having a back to basics in the deck against them. Containment Priest is good against Aether Vial and good against if they Flicker Wisp their own creature. It gets awkward if they Flicker Wisp your creature. So you have to be careful with it, but it is an option. Okay, so Force of Negation, don't love it. Force of Will, I want some number in the deck, but not all of them. Moat is good. Replenish is nice. I don't really want Path to Exile. Court of Cunning is a little dangerous. Hull Breacher is medium. Supreme Verdict is basically the whole plan. Just get to Supreme Verdict, cast it, and then you win. Shark Typhoon is also really excellent in this matchup. Maybe I don't care about Moat. Between Flicker Wisp, Skyclave Apparition, and their natural flying creatures, it's also a 4-mana spell against the deck with all the hateful land hate, land denial in it. Court of Grace can actually win the game all on its own, so kind of interested in keeping that around. Maybe I do want Moat, but what would I cut for it? Nah, forget it. Moat in this matchup just, it makes me nervous because it's so good until it's bad, and they have a lot of ways to make it bad. All right, so if I can just keep a hand with 3 lands in it. We should be fine. This missing your land drop is about the worst thing that can happen in the first 3 turns normally, and against the Wasteland, Thalia, Rashad Port deck, it just gets so much worse. Basically, the only point of tension in this entire matchup is if you can get to double white or not. And of course, here we are. All right, this is a keep. It's got 3 lands in it. And I'm going to bottom Court of Grace. I'm not going to want that until a lot later when I know I'm stable. All right, they went to 6 this time. I have basic planes for Swords to Plowshares at the ready. I have Snap Plow also at the ready. Surprise, my deck does play removal. You wouldn't tell from last game. So if they have Thalia here, wait, what? They kept a 1-lander? What the fuck? Why would you do that? Okay. Well, now I have Snap Plow for their next play, but I assume their next play is going to be really good, or else why would they keep this hand? Like, they must have Thalia, Stoneforge, Spirit of the Labyrinth, or something here. Alright, well, I'm going to Snap Plow this. And now I'm attacking. Oh, GG. Yeah, that's gonna do it. No mercy. How many 4/4s can you beat with your 1 land? So what happened to me last game happened to them this game. Just didn't draw lands, didn't play the game. Even if they have Spirit of the Labyrinth here, it doesn't matter because I'm still making 4/4s. I don't need to draw an extra card. Alright, so that was juicy. I like that. Maybe I do want Path to Exile, though ramping them feels like a huge cost. No, I'm actually going to take out my Stony Silence for Moat, because I have the Null Rod I can dig for. I don't think I need 2 of that effect. Like, you play 2 of them because you need it against the Storm decks. You need it early and often, so you want to double your chances to find one. But against this deck, it's just a tool for the late game. So I'm not going to do that. I think the rest of this looks pretty good. Yeah, Brazen Borrower and Force of Will are the 2 cards that have enough utility that you might want them. It's just how deep you want to go on sideboarding to actually put them in or not. All right, this has 2 lands, a Plow, and a Brainstorm. This works for me. All right, they're on 6 again. Thinking about their 6 now. All right, they kept 6. All right, the first Aether Vial. Imagine playing an 80 card deck and still having Aether Vial on turn 1. All right, so Prismatic Vista. I can pick off the Aether Vial on turn 2. Unless they cast Thalia right now, which maybe I just force Thalia. Yeah, because if they play Thalia right now, I can't plow her. Like, it would be ideal if they play like Stoneforge Mystic or Spirit of the Labyrinth, something that I can just kill with plow, untap, destroy their Aether Vial, and then I'm Gucci. All right, so they got the Sword of Fire and Ice. So because I'm going to remove Stoneforge Mystic, that means they're going to have to cast Sword of Fire and Ice, so the Force of Will can check that if it has to. Do you have a 1-drop? Nope. All right, cool. So now I can Force of Will, probably pitching Hull Breacher if I need to counter something. Yeah, that. Unfortunately, I do have to counter that the way my hand looks. As my whole hand is trying to draw cards. Bummer. Okay, this is good. Good start. I'm gonna put Shark Typhoon and Tundra on the top, play the Scalding Tarn. I have Plow that can bridge the gap to my fourth land, and then I have Supreme Verdict from there. All right, Recruiter can get something good. I can Plow whatever they Recruiter for. I guess Sanctum Prelate would be kind of annoying, but I have both Plow and Verdict. Though, if they get Flicker Wisp and start bouncing their Recruiter, that sucks. I think Flicker Wisp is the obvious play, but I can Plow Recruiter to break up that combo. Yeah, there's the Wisp. So I can Ponder. I know I'm drawing Shark Typhoon that I actually want next turn. I guess I could just have it this turn. Another land. Actually, the Hall of Heliod's pretty dope. Okay, so now I have Shark Typhoon plus Hall available. And I've hung this nice, juicy, non-basic into play. If they want to waste me, then I get to protect my Hall. I'm probably going to take one here, and then they'll Flicker Wisp, unless they respect my Shark or my Snapcaster and just want to Flicker Wisp in the main phase. Which is also fine, because then my Shark gets to eat Flicker Wisp next turn. Actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they have a land, they can connect with Sword of Fire and Ice next turn. That's pretty scary. But I'm going to make them have it. And I can just Supreme Verdict if they do have it. Alright, looks like they do. Not a big deal. So I'm going to let this connect. They get the extra card. And then in the end step, I'm going to make a Shark. Then in my upkeep, I can regrow Seal of Cleansing and destroy Sword of Fire and Ice. Oh, now I don't even really need to do that. All right, how do I want to play this? I think I just want to draw my card. Yeah, this Swords to Plowshare goes a long way. Nice. It's splat. All right, maybe I should have just bounced the sword. At least make them do some work to get it back into play. Yeah, because if they just play Skyclave Apparition right now and equip it with sword, then that's actually really shitty. Yeah, I played this wrong. Yeah, that's exactly what they have to. Yep, should have bounced sword. I was thinking that I could just bounce their next creature, but that doesn't even make sense. And now they have Rishadenport. I could actually just lose to this, what they have going on right now. All right, I'm going to Brainstorm with that mana. Okay, that's fine. Put back Hull Breacher and Supreme Verdict. We're in my main phase. That can be another Tundra. So I can attack and then Supreme Verdict. And then I get a 3/3 Illusion. And they don't have anything to put on the sword right now. Yeah, that was so bad. I should be a card deeper in my deck. This sword shouldn't just be sitting in play. Yeah, these ports are tough. If I activate Hall, then they can port my 2 white sources. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm like actually at 1 on board here. Alright, I guess I'll draw for turn. Fuck. Oh, at least now I can use my mana. I'll put Seal of Cleansing on top of the deck. Alright, I might as well attack because I'm not going to be able to block anyway. Oh, this is tight and I don't like it. If they can produce like any second creature here, I'm probably dead. And I can't draw extra cards. And yeah, if they just like play a creature here, I lose. Especially that one. Yeah, that sucks. Oh wow, they're even making me shuffle my deck. Alright, I mean, that's fine. Time to draw Supreme Verdict. That actually helps. Like, they had me hard locked. If I drew that Seal of Cleansing, I was just dead. Alright, deck. Supreme Verdict off the top. Let's go. Verdict. Yeah, I have nothing to do with this mana. Alright. Supreme Verdict. Shark Typhoon. I can cycle for Supreme Verdict. Oh, I can't draw extra cards. Never mind. Nope. I can't draw extra cards this turn. But they have Mother of Runes anyway. So I can cycle, make a shark. Let's see if they attack with Spirit or with Spirit and Mother. Just Spirit. All right. I mean, the Mother is the perfect card anyway. It doesn't really matter. Like, I can't block this because of Pro Red or Pro Blue. Yeah, okay. Just dead. All right. Got beat by Death and Taxes. Probably was a way to win that game, but they definitely strung it together pretty well. The turn that I didn't bounce Sword of Fire and Ice, that was the where I lost the game. If I had just minused on Sword, it would have cost them 3 extra mana. They wouldn't have been able to port me as aggressively. If they did, I would have been a card deeper in the deck. Teferi died anyway. Yeah, that was just a punt. Like, I just for some reason thought I could just answer the creature with Teferi and that would be better. But Skyclave Apparition specifically was the card that punished that, and that's what they had. So I deserve to lose that one. I just made the wrong play. So this deck, I think, needs a little bit of tuning still for the new meta. Hull Breacher actually wasn't that good. It just being this random creature that doesn't really trade well, doesn't really interact well on the board. Um, Everyone had a lot more creatures than they used to. Like the thing about a broken metagame, like the Oko Dreadhorde metagame, is that you know that every deck either has those cards or is built to beat them, and you can target a small specific subset of things with your tuning. Now with this open meta, you need to be ready for more stuff. So I think maybe the this like Crucible package that was pretty good before, might not be as good now. Maybe in the sideboard if it's in the deck at all. Um, Replenish was pretty medium the whole time. Like I'm not dumping a whole lot of enchantments in the graveyard right now. Anyone with a curve can beat Court of Cunning. Like decks that have like Noble Hierarch into Court of Cunning, those are going to be a lot better suited to be on board, be present, have it out before your opponent set up. But just like having it as a 3-drop did not work out very well here. So maybe have some more Planeswalkers in the deck, like have Narset, have Jace over this Crucible, and have other ways to win the game. The Moat was actually still pretty good. I was impressed with Moat. There were a lot of points where Shark Typhoon would have been perfect, but I didn't have one, and I am playing the max. I have played 3 in other builds of the deck, but I am on the full max 4. It just didn't have it. Maybe also the 5th plow in Path to Exile should be something like Preordain or Predict, like something that can draw more cards. Maybe it's time for Accumulated Knowledge to come back, but that's asking a lot out of a deck that wants to become the Monarch. So this deck definitely needs some tuning. Those are my ideas right off the bat. And then I'm also going to want to revisit Shark still. Like this is MonShark with the Quartz. Taking out the Quartz, putting in Standstill could be better in this new meta game. So a lot to learn. New meta, who dis? Let's figure out how to break it. So everyone, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. In the future, I will update this more. If you like this deck specifically, I keep my thoughts, my running thoughts on it active in Patreon, so you don't have to wait for a video to come out. You can just message me in my Patreon Discord, or when I post the updated lists, it's there. So see you around. See you next time. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon if you want. See you later.